YouTube, what's going on? HeirofCarthage here, and welcome to Athel Tamarha. There will be no torturing today. I know. High Elf Batman is sad. No one gets tortured or otherwise executed. Well, I mean, actually, they probably will. This is a battle in Total War Warhammer 2, but we'll see. We do have Grom, though. Grom is here, not to sack the settlement at Tor of Rest, as one might expect, but he is fighting some stunties. I don't know what brought them to Athel Tamarha. Maybe they have some strange pastimes or something that they... Yeah, anyway, I'm going to get out of there. So here we go. Welcome to the battle. We've got Grom the Paunch, and he has brought some goblins and some orc boys. It's a mix of nasty skulkers and orc boys, and then a couple of black orcs, a giant way back in the back. He went for a weird deployment, not expecting the stunties to be very mobile, but these stunties were indeed mobile. And you can see that there is a pretty nasty fight going on right now for the Greenskins. They are getting hammered. And I'm going to put it in slow motion for just a second because I want you all to see this. I haven't been doing this recently, but I have to do it here just because of the speed at which the battle's progressing. We're only 1 minute in and we've got a huge fight. Grom gets in early, but I mean, there are rangers with great weapons nearby, and Grom is going to get chewed up fast. His abilities will be the only thing really keeping him afloat. All the miners here are holding back the infantry, and then there's a lot of blasting charges coming in. And units like Orc Boys and Skulkers, they don't do so great with the blasting charges, and their leadership is pretty low. The Black Orcs even took a bit of a savaging on the way in, but there are some others over here that are alive. The Giant is an interesting pick, and it's going to be pretty risky against the Dwarves in any case. And with this many skirmishers on the field, potentially extremely risky. If we look at the Dwarf build, it really is a Ranger, Miner, and Ranger with great weapon build. Bugman's Rangers, the specialty too. So multiple Bugman's Rangers. For those not familiar, the Bugman's Rangers have a special ability which I think is like liquid fortification. Yeah, which restores hit points around them basically, and so they can heal off some damage. They're decent in melee. They're not good, but they're decent. They can kind of hold their own against certain types of units. You can see that Ulthar's Raiders and some other Rangers with great weapons, and then the Lord here is a Rune Lord. So an interesting pick by the Dwarves, but the most interesting pick of all, I think, is a huge bunch of Squig Hoppers that Grom had Vanguard deployed behind the Dawi. And I love the pick of Squig Hoppers in this matchup because they are armor-piercing and anti-infantry, and the Dwarves bring it's all infantry, if you're the Dwarves, with the exception of maybe a gyrocopter or something, and then outside of that, everything has armor. Even their skirmishers have decent armor at 40, which I think is slightly more than what you're going to see on most factions. So the Squig Hoppers are coming in force, and they are going to attempt to save the day from what starts out as a very rough fight for the Greenskins. Look at this, losing all the way across the front. But here comes the Squig Hoppers. And these guys get a lot of kills real quick because of the armor-piercing and anti-infantry bonus that they get. Let's take a look at that specifically. The weapon damage here, 19 armor-piercing damage is a lot, especially for a unit of this cost. That's a fair bit. And here comes the Wah. It's going to make it even higher. The bonus versus infantry is 10, which is quite solid. And so you can see these Squig Hoppers quickly chewing a hole through the Bugman's Rangers, which would otherwise be a fairly tough unit to crack with a typical light cavalry from the Greenskins, because you wouldn't have that armor piercing, and then the healing on the Bugman's Rangers. And look at this, 22 kills, 24, climbing quick. This Squig Hopper with 37, already mulched a target and heading to the next one. This distraction from the Squig Hoppers allows the Giant to get into combat now too, which is a huge win for the Greenskins, because when I first saw this replay, I expected the Giant to be dead very, very quickly with all the skirmishers, but look at this, these Squig Hoppers, just an absolute nightmare right now for the Dawi skirmishers. 64 kills and a chevron and climbing on one of the Squig Hoppers already. Now Grom took a beating early. He can start to recover some, and since this is the Dwarves and he is in a chariot, he is their kryptonite for the most part, so Grom will not be easily killed by anything the Dawi have left because all of the Rangers with great weapons are gone. They were absolutely critical. And then this Black Orc managed to cut through an infantry unit and now is cutting through more. And so the Dawi find themselves in really bad shape because there's really nothing left that can deal with that Black Orc, not to mention Grom. And then the Squig Hoppers have absolutely mulched the back lines and done a really great job. I thought this would be a cool battle that was submitted to me to show off a unit that really just doesn't get picked that often, at least not by me and a lot that I've seen. But I mean, a Squig Hopper really is a great unit in certain situations. They can also be helpful as cheap support against a faction who just fields a decent amount of armored infantry. Their leadership is not good. They're goblins, for goodness sakes, and they're riding on top of a squig. The leadership is not great. But as a support unit, they can be very, very good. Squig herds in general can be very useful, but you can see here, look at this, Night Goblin Squig Hopper. Double chevrons, 168 kills and climbing, 170. Just incredible performance there. Incredible. So Sovereign sent this one in, and it was enjoyable. I mean, look at this. Double chevron Squig Hoppers coming out of the battle. It's insane. So, I mean, but it was a heck of a play. Now, a couple things I want to say about these two picks here. Number one, I love this Dwarf pick. I used to pick a lot of Dwarf shenanigans like this, and, you know, it is either a big win or a big loss when you do this stuff as the Dwarves, but it is fun. And it usually is unexpected. Because people will expect you to just sit back with artillery and shoot, and this is a lot of fun doing this kind of stuff. So Captain Skittles gets points for me for pulling in a very gutsy dwarf army. You got to have one heck of an iron beard in order to pick this kind of stuff, and so I got major respect for Captain Skittles. And then as for Sovereign, the Giant to me is a strange pick against the Dwarfs. He is good against infantry blobs, but the Dwarfs have so many tools for killing a Giant, and he's not particularly fast. Fast is usually what, you know, foils the Dwarves, so it would have been interesting to maybe see a couple boar chariots in place of this Giant. And this army actually becomes pretty nasty in a lot of scenarios for the Dwarves, because how do the Dwarves deal with 4 Squig Hoppers and a couple of chariots on top of it, plus Grum? Just be an absolute nightmare. And honestly, I've been talking about this for a while, things that I think could help the Dwarves be better and still kind of maintain their play style without just having to add magical slowing abilities. I'm not going to talk about that right now. My suggestion is mostly around reworking Longbeards a little bit, and I think you could do it that way. But they're also probably missing a few units that might come in handy. Anyway, I've got another replay for you all because this one was rather short, so hang tight, and we're going to jump over to that one too. So in this one, we're going to have Consul of Rome facing off against Malox 1696. And this is going to be an Avelorn versus Tomb Kings replay. And yes, we did see some antics from Avelorn recently in videos, and so I guess in more lead up to the Wood Elf DLC, we're going to see a whole bunch of Dryads here. So not necessarily intentional, but I guess maybe a lot of people are really wanting that Wood Elf DLC because I'm seeing a lot of Dryads being used. Even though this is Avelorn and it's not technically a Wood Elf faction, right? But hey, they all came from Gaian Vale, so close enough. So yeah, we got 5 Dryads up front for Avelorn. You can see them engaging a line of Tomb Kings, which consist of Skeleton Warriors, but also a couple of Tomb Guards. So there are a couple of tougher targets here. There's a Flamespire Phoenix and Alariel the Radiant on her Eagle. There are some Illyrian Reavers, and then from an archer standpoint, you've got the Storm Riders, which is the Regiment of Renown Lothern Sea Guard. And then we have some Shadow Warriors mixed in with those, so pretty cool archery regiments that we have going on. Now, where the Tomb Kings end up facing Dryads with Skeletons, they will lose. Where they face them with Tomb Guard, they will win. It's pretty straightforward from an infantry fight, unless you have other forces at hand here, like this Flamespire Phoenix that's bombing down on Archon the Black right now. And Archon has a Tomb Prince to support him. I would expect we'll see that Tomb Prince get up here and try and help him out. And then we've got some Ushabti with Great Bow, including the Chosen of the Gods, and then the Eyes of the Desert's Sepulchral Stalkers. Let's keep an eye on this, though, here. Some nice healing right here in the middle. Trying to keep the Phoenix in this fight, but it was too late. The Ushabti with Great Bow doing a great job. Alariel dives in a little too late here. And then the, what do you call it? The, crap, why did I forget the name of the ability? Is Star of Avelorn? I think it's, yeah. Star of Avelorn, holy crap, and it was there. I just forgot it for some reason. So the Star of Avelorn, somewhat wasted here. It did help keep the Dryads around a little longer, but did not manage to keep the Flamespire Phoenix in the fight. The Illyrian Reavers, though, what a job here by these guys, getting here and actually taking out an Ushabti with Great Bow. It had already taken some damage from the archers, but speaking of archers, the Tomb King players had a couple of carrion that got in here and really started messing up with the archers. Fortunately for Avelorn, they can retreat and fire because of being Shadow Warriors, and they've also lured a Tomb Guard out here, which Alariel's Eagle is having a couple of nice bone snacks here, picking off some of these Tomb Guards. This Tomb Guard unit is way out of position, and it's going to suffer because of it. But still a pretty tough fight that's going to be going on here. A summoned Ushabti now fighting these Illyrian Reavers, and the Heralds of the Wind were in the battle as well. You can see them now charging into combat, probably trying to keep the Chosen of the Gods silenced so that they can't go on. And the Illyrian Reavers that did so good initially here, getting just shredded by the Eyes of the Desert. And the missile attack on the Eyes of the Desert is very powerful. Very powerful indeed. You can see here the Dryads facing off with some Skeleton Warriors. The Dryads have already picked up 125 kills. They're not stopping yet. They are very effective against skeletons, but if you look here, the Tomb Guard has no problem trouncing Dryads. Here we're going to see the Flamespire Phoenix and Alariel come in and try and help take this Tomb Guard out of commission. I like that call. The Storm Riders getting as many shots in as they can, and then there's a Dryad coming in to reinforce them. So the two Tomb Guard units, a little bit out of position, and they paid for it. But we have a very tough fight here for Alariel, honestly, because, I mean, you've got this very healthy Eyes of the Desert back here, a Tomb Prince, who's in perfect health. The Chosen of the Gods is also in near perfect health. Archon is still alive. And the Dryad front, which did very admirably in this battle, is now starting to falter. This isn't the forest, this is the desert. And I guess the Dryads are now remembering that, and they are beginning to fall back. And this leaves Alariel and her Flamespire Phoenix a little more short-handed in dealing with all these Tomb King units. This Star of Avelorn will be better used and will give significant healing to the Flamespire Phoenix and Alariel in this case, as well as the Dryads here too. I would assume that they are benefiting from it. And we're going to see that the Tomb King's now rushing forward, looking to get in here. The Chosen of the Gods has now savaged the Storm Riders, and it's really doing some damage back here. It got Alariel earlier too, I believe. And just really has done some terrific damage. That Star of Avelorn, very effective. Both those characters healed up, and you can see it brings the power bar back to near center here. But I mean, this Tomb Prince is going to be tough to kill. He's anti-large. You're definitely going to need some, well, I was going to say you need some body blocking in here, and the Dryads were giving it, but here comes Archon summoning up his skeletons, and that's going to work out very nicely for him here, giving him some protection from Alariel and the Flamespire Phoenix, and the Sepulchral Stalkers, the Eyes of the Desert here, moved right in, and Alariel is going to be in some deep doo-doo here because she's also taking shots off of the Chosen of the Gods. So Avelorn is in a tough position here. They have got to deal with these Chosen of the Gods, and if they can't, it's going to be ugly. You can see an Illyrian Reaver here charging in to help. I almost wonder if it shouldn't be used just to tie down that Chosen of the Gods a little while longer. Shadow Warriors now coming in handy as a secondary melee unit. Unfortunately for them, there's a Tomb Guard there, but they'll hold out for a little while. And you can see Avelorn goes all in to this blob. Alariel actually gets routed. That is not going to bode well for the rest of the forces here. That Tomb Prince is absolutely owning right now. He came in, and you can see there he just took a big chunk out of the Flamespire Phoenix, the Eyes of the Desert, assisting with that. And so Avelorn definitely finding themselves in a bit of a pinch now as a lot of their units have begun routing. Look at this, the Chosen of the Gods about to kill Alariel too. She's wavering once again, and they're down low on ammo, but there's a couple more shots incoming. There they go. They've lost their ammo in that very last shot, almost doing some critical damage there. Alariel is going to use an Earthblood to heal up as many hit points as she can get. Archon is very low. The Tomb Prince is in very good shape. Let's see what's left here. Some Skelly Warriors, some Tomb Guard, Nekesh's Scorpion Legion. There are some Dryads that are regrouping, and we've got the Heralds of the Wind back here as well. A few more Dryads scattered around that might be able to come back. So we'll see what's going to be available here. There is a little bit of ammo left on the Eyes of the Desert, and if they save that, they may be able to kill Alariel with it. You can see they darn near did with a shot or two there, and so Alariel is in very bad shape. And this battle, to me, looks pretty solid for the Tomb Kings, but, I mean, you never know what's going to happen here. We got a Flamespire Phoenix that does have a little bit of healing left, but I just don't know how we're going to have that Tomb Prince get dealt with at this point for Avelorn. I'm not sure they have an answer to it. It's too healthy. Well, I mean, I say healthy, I guess with a pinch of salt there. I mean, if this is your idea of healthy, which is being a undead skeleton riding on an undead skeleton horse, then yes, life is good at that point. Life or unlife is good, whatever it is. Just gotta make up my mind on this one. So yeah, the Tomb Prince charging forward and looking to get into combat, as he should. Like I said, there's really not much left on the map that can oppose him. There's a little bit of ammo left for the Storm Riders and one of the Shadow Warriors here. They'll spend it how they best see fit. At the moment, they're shooting at, I think, Archon. They're not going to get a ton of hits on him. I think these Sepulchral Stalkers would be a good target. They are armored, but, I mean, whatever damage you can get done on a big unit like this that you're not as likely to miss with the bows is probably helpful. And look, they're trying to get in range of Alarielle. If they do, I think she's toast. Alarielle, oh man, yeah, she is... Oh, no, the dangerous life there. They ended up shooting the Flamespire Phoenix, and it was a pretty good hit. The Flamespire Phoenix looking for the assassination, but this is right next to the Tomb Prince. And he says no. We caught it, too. So we'll see whether there's a rebirth here, potentially on the Flamespire Phoenix. It's going to get healed. That's actually probably a good idea. Try and get its hit points up above the risk of it dying to a rebirth, which is a very real risk. Alarielle is down to 392 hit points. Last few shots here going into the Eyes of the Desert. And, I mean, this Flamespire really wants Archon. Archon's right in the middle of those. Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know. He's got probably more than one attack left here. Dropping the flaming poo bombs here from the Flamespire Phoenix. Now, we have seen that if the Phoenix goes up in smoke, I mean, he might be able to try and trade it against the Tomb Prince, going like a suicide mission. It's pretty risky, though, because the Tomb Prince is a relatively small model. Ooh, Alarielle gets knocked out of the fight. Definitely not good for Avelorn, and the attempted assassination goes awry, too, as the Flamespire Phoenix get caught in the Eyes of the Desert. And it looks like Archon is going to secure the victory here for the Tomb Kings in the desert. So, home court advantage, maybe, for Archon the Black. So, Console of Rome does not make it through on this one, but a fun build from him, nonetheless. Seeing the heavy Dryad stuff. Again, I don't know, this wasn't necessarily planned for me to pull out all these Dryads, but since people are feeling the oncoming Wood Elf DLC, then here we go. We get a bunch of Dryads. But fun armies from both players. As the Eyes of the Desert, really cool unit. Archon the Black is probably one of my favorite lords for the Tomb Kings as well. He's just very versatile. Very versatile indeed. Great support unit. Plenty of units to support him with. The Shabti with Great Bow are a must against many, many factions with the Tomb Kings, and they were used well here with respect to the Chosen of the Gods. The other didn't have a ton of kills, but I'm pretty sure they got some nice damage dealt. And CA, please, add in damage dealt to the game. For goodness sakes, help us out here. That'd be great to see damage dealt, because that's a big factor in a game that requires, you know, health pools and stuff like this. But fun gameplay from both players. Hope you enjoyed both of these battles. I will be back with more soon. As always, if you want to support the channel, there are a few ways to do it. The best way, and it costs you nothing, except for a few seconds of your time, is if you liked this video, go up there and hit that like button. If you want to see more, you can hit the subscribe button. You can click the bell to stay notified. Otherwise, I just hope to see you here on every video if you are enjoying it. And as always, please leave me feedback if you don't think I'm doing a good job, or just in general. Love to see it. Anyway, HeirofCarthage signing out for now. I will see you all soon.